Good morning, beautiful people. Today is Matcha morning and Beadhead musing. Because I'm not juicing today. I'm not at home. I'm not feeling under the weather, but what I am feeling is just a little bit warm. And I don't know. I could probably sleep all day. So I need to definitely be restful this weekend. It was a long, somewhat stressful week, but just it was a lot. So yeah, so on days I'm not juicing, I'm going to say matcha mornings, because every morning is a matcha morning. Matcha mornings and Beadhead musings. I got Roshi right here. That's Roshi. And that's Gonzo. I don't know where the kitty went. She's off somewhere. So last night I was going to do a card pull and ask some questions with my dowsing rods, but that's not how it worked out. All of a sudden, a question came into my mind, something I needed to lay to rest. And so let me give you some backstory. My little sister, Ruth, was in a car accident in Wyoming on a road called Union Chapel Road when she was 16. There are almost no curvy roads in Gillette, Wyoming, but this is a curvy road, and it's curvy because it runs along a, what would you call it in Wyoming? I mean, when there's rain, it looks kind of like a creek, but it's not big enough to be considered a creek. So it'd be the next smaller thing, and I don't remember what we would call that. Anyway, so it winds around. It's windy. And so the road winds around alongside it. And my sister was doing 60, 65 on those curves. And she was trying to change her cassette tape. And it fell on the floor on the passenger side. And while driving on the curves going 60, she reached down to pick it up. She did not have her seatbelt on. She had her window rolled down, and her car went end over end. And she was ejected from the car, which was a good thing, because if she had been in the car, she would have been decapitated. You know what? Unless you understand the story, her being decapitated would have probably been the best thing for her. And let me explain. When I don't know how long she'd been laying there, because it's out in the country. It doesn't get a lot of daytime traffic, but somebody came by, and we didn't have cell phones yet, but we had CB radios, and a lot of people in that day and time had CB radios. And so somebody called in that there had been a car accident, and the people had stayed with my sister. What had happened was, when she was ejected out her car window, she went through a barbed wire fence. Now, there's a lot of people in the United States that don't even know what a barbed wire fence is. They're cruel and inhumane, and I am against barbed wire fences. Anyway, she went through it, so it shredded her. She broke her pelvis bone. She broke a rib. Her lungs collapsed. When the EMTs got there, she was dead. And I don't know, I never knew how long she had been dead. And they resuscitated her. But after that wreck, my sister Ruth was never the same person. And they always talk about, if you've had a head injury, that sometimes your personality changes. And that's true. But for my sister, it wasn't that. It just, I always knew it was something more. And when she I don't know, it was several years later, we were talking, and I don't remember everything about that day. It was a long, long time ago. And let me stop right there. I didn't finish what I was going to say about my matcha today. I was feeling a little warm and not feeling that great. And so I put emergency in my matcha today. So I poured a packet of emergency to build up my immune system, and then I made it in my matcha. So I was at my sister's house, my little sister's house. Or was she at my house? See, I don't remember. Anyway, we were talking and we were having a disagreement about something. And my sister was just being like, my little sister was so sweet. And then after her car wreck, she was just an absolute mess. She was a bitch. So we were talking, and I saw a demon in her face. Like, I saw two faces. I saw Ruth's face and I saw a demon's face protrude from her. And I said, Ruth, you have a demon in you. And of course, she gets angry. But our relationship since she was 16 and had that car accident, our relationship was never the same. We had a very loving relationship. I really loved her. And since that time, it was always really hard for me to love her. And then as I learned about things and my gift, you know, I'm very perceptive to the things of the spirit world. I learned that sometimes when a person dies, a demon takes over their body. Or sometimes when a person dies, another spirit who didn't cross over jumps into that body. It's called a walk-in. I know somebody who has a walk-in. She married my ex-boyfriend. Of all the things, it was very deliberate. Anyway, stay on subject. So, as time has gone on, I have gone through phases where I grieved my sister because the person who was my sister was gone. And I grieved her little bits over the many, many years, over 20 years, over 30 years. So I've come to the conclusion that either when my sister died in that car accident, that either a demon entered in her and they were simultaneously existing, or I don't know, or just the demon and she died. But I felt for the most part she died. But I was like doubting it all, like, can a demon really live in a body? So last night it occurred to me, and I'm sure my little sister's higher self was saying to me, hey, you need to ask your dowsing rods about me. I'm like, yeah. So I would have recorded it, but it wasn't what I had planned to do, and I didn't know what the outcome would be, and I felt like it was more of a personal Q&A just for me. So I didn't record it. But I'm sharing this because if I've gone through it, other people have gone through it. So when my sister was in that accident, she crossed over and her body laid there, ripped to shreds by a barbed wire fence. And a demon decided to step into her body. So when it was there waiting, and when the EMTs resuscitated her, which I remember they thought that it was quite odd that she came back considering how long she'd been dead. I don't know how long she was dead, but they did resuscitate her. She came back. Well, the demon was there waiting for them to do that. And it jumped in her body. It's been living in her body all these years. And it makes sense. She's just, her life has been so chaotic. She's bipolar. It's just, she wasn't bipolar before that accident. I just knew something wasn't right. When I saw the demon, then it was like, there would be times I'd try to tell myself I didn't really see it, but I can still see it. So I asked my dowsing rods. I called on my little sister's higher self. And I said, did my little sister die that day? Did my sister Ruth pass away that day? And she said yes. So I said, did a walk-in? Did the spirit of another person walk into Ruthie's body? No. So I had to ask the question I didn't want to ask. Did a demon walk into my little sister's body? Yes. It's really hard to grieve someone that you love when you know they're... Let me back up. It's really hard to grieve them because the grief is... It's so painful to know somebody's walking around in your sister's body. It doesn't belong to them. And my sister has been upset about it this whole time. You know, she lived her life and her life was over. So last night I grieved my sister properly because now I know she has passed away. She's in the third heaven or above. That makes me happy. That makes me happy to know she's ascended. So I asked my spirit guides, is there anything I can do? They said yes. And I'm like, can I cast a demon out from a distance? And they said yes. And I said, but I don't know how to do that. So basically, it's hard to say how you communicate with your higher self, your spirit guide, your guardian angel, but it's a knowing. And in my knowing, I knew that what I needed to do was just give it energy and let them do the work. So I called on a team, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Ruthie's higher self, Ruthie's spirit guides, Ruthie's guardian angel, my higher self, my guardian angel, my spirit guides, and any host of angels of light. And I called upon all, and the Jesus source and the God source. And my dowsing rods opened up like if we were doing a hug, or it was not the hug where it touches my shoulders, but it's wide open like a great big yes answer. They opened up and I just sat there and gave it energy. I don't know how much time passed because I wasn't recording. I couldn't see the timer. And then it was over. And I asked my spirit guides, is the demon out of my sister's body? And they said yes. I'm unclear about, because when you ask questions, sometimes the spirit guides don't tell you, and sometimes you have to be very careful about how you answer the question, and maybe I needed to reword them. But I was kind of overwhelmed and I didn't really care. I didn't want to deal with any more of it for the night. And so, you know, the archangels and the God source and the Jesus source and, you know, everything that's on the other side, you know, based on religion and just beliefs, a belief system that's incorrect, we put limitations on what we can do. And I would have never thought that could be, I never would have thought you could do something like that. But we did it. So that's what we did last night. Me and my spirit team and other teams helping. We removed that demon from my little sister. So I've got to get back in and ask a few more questions, like what becomes of my sister's body? Does it cease to live? Does it keep living without a soul? How can that be? How can it? Or is there a separation of soul from higher self? Or are they the same? I'm not clear on all that kind of stuff. And like sometimes when you ask your spirit guide something, their interpretation is so different that the way you're asking it isn't how it is. So they can't answer or they tell you no. There's other options we're not even aware of yet. I try to become more aware every day so that I can understand and be more useful and helpful. So that's what happened. I'm going to finish up my matcha. So that was my night. It was kind of emotional. And I grieved. So yeah, it was a lot. It's a lot. There's like this mix of emotions. I'm really, really happy that my sister is in the third heaven and above. That makes me joyful. But you know, the damage she's caused, you know, not her, the demon, obviously not her. I mean, why am I surprised? That's what demons do, right? They cause pain. I'm just trying to put my phone down. My hands just don't want to carry it around. So yesterday was sunny and today is kind of cloudy again. I love this. I love this mug. My Celtic women. I've got a friend who's going through a difficult time, and she's going to come over and I'm going to Reiki drum her. I got another there's just a bunch of signs happening. I got another sign last night that I'm going to be meeting a man. You know, the last time I got signs that I was going to meet a man, I met the last man I dated a couple of years ago, and it didn't work out. Does that mean it wasn't meant to be? No, absolutely not. Maybe it was meant to be for that period of time, for him to learn something of value and for me to learn something of value. So I'm not sad that we dated. And I'm okay that we broke up. I'm pretty irked that he married the girl who died and somebody else walked in and is living in her body. I'm irked that he married her. He doesn't know that. I know that. So, but anyway, back to what I was saying. So I got another, the words popped up in my head to ask my spirit guides, am I going to date this year? So I said, okay, am I going to date this year? And they said, yes. And I said, is this going to be somebody who's a good partner for me? And they said, yes. I'm just really content being single. I do what I want, when I want, how I want. I like that. So I don't know. But I'm open to anything that the universe wants to bring to me because it would be for my highest good. So we'll see. We shall see. All right. I'm going to get off of here. Everybody have a beautiful, wonderful, blessed day. Love you. Love and light. Bye.